This is Anne Hart Cool, wife of Mark Cool, who we just talked to. And how old are you?
I'm 53.
Okay. Great. So can you describe your experiences and sensations and symptoms since the turbines went online near your home?
Sure. I know that they're vastly different now that there's been a regulation, the 23-mile-an-hour shut-off.
Mm-hmm.
But that first year or so that we were dealing with it, I was up probably 3-4 nights a week with insomnia. Watched a lot of bad HBO and very, very stressed out as a result of the lack of sleep. There is something about the rhythm of the noise of the turbine that becomes kind of cellular for me. I mean, I can feel it as it turns, and it would wake me up, and often startled, quite startled. So it's one of those things where I would be worried someone was in the house. I'd often wake up Mark, say go check. But once we got used to the thud, thud, thud of the noise of the turbine, it became clear that, my worries weren't, about having someone in the house, that those weren't accurate. It was just our new neighbor, the turbine. So for the first year, I probably was up 2 or 3, 4 times a night, a week, and I also started to grind my teeth, which is not something that I've done for a long time. I know I did during college, during some very stressful times, but I haven't done that since, and so the teeth grinding was a concern. I didn't know I was doing it, and actually Mark didn't know I was doing it. I went to my doctor, and he said, "Oh my goodness," because I was having such terrible headaches, and he said, "It's clear you're grinding your teeth." So then I would notice the jaw pressure and things like that. So that was before the town graciously turned them down, and that was a real relief for some of us. However, when the winds are going north, and just 2 or 3 days ago, awakened like 4 o'clock in the morning by the boot in the dryer. For me it was kind of like the bell tolling for yet another miserable winter. And I think really for me, the biggest problem for me is the lack of sleep. Has so many other symptoms along with it. The inability to digest difficult information as easily. And I also get very protective. I'm very sad and disappointed that I lived in Falmouth nearly 30 years, and that we bought this oasis that has been somewhat stolen from us. And so I think that gets me up more irritated, and I don't think I would be as irritated if I was able to enjoy my home and sleep through the night. So that really, now I'm getting some relief because it's slowed down, but I still have that occasional wake up in the night. I can definitely feel the pulsing. Last year we went to Block Island for an escape. I think our accountant said that we spent several $1,000s in hotel rooms last year, because we knew we needed to get sleep. The idea that it could cost my husband his job, so it not only is stealing our house but our economy from us, just makes me crazy. So we would run away, and I remember we went to Block Island, and it took me about 2 days before I didn't hear them anymore. They were in my head, that rhythm. So
sort of like when you've been driving all day and you see the road rushing at you.
Yeah, kind of that.
Can you talk a little more about your headaches?
Yeah, my headaches, they're not like my husband's. They're more, and I'm not a migraine. I'm not a headache person. Never.
So in the past, you really didn't get headaches?
No, I'm not a headache person. So, so they're kind of like I don't know. They're kind of in the back of my head,
Mm-hmm.
and come forward to the, front of my head. They're kind of, I don't want to say sinus, because I'm not quite sure what a sinus headache is. But,
How often do you get them?
I probably get them 5 or 6 days a week.
Including now?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So that happened through the summer also?
Yeah, and I thought maybe it was a new eyeglass prescription.
Mm-hmm.
So I did go and have my eyes done. They hadn't changed at all.
Mm-hmm.
So, we are trying to find other solutions.
Yeah. Did you end up getting a bite guard from your dentist?
I did.
And did that help?
I think it helps my teeth. I don't think, I'm still grinding, certainly.
Did it help your headaches?
I didn't notice.
No, didn't do anything
Yeah,
to your
no.
headaches?
Yeah, I haven't noticed.
Okay. And the headaches, if you have a headache, say in the daytime, how much does it hold you back? I mean, do you have to find a quiet place and go to sleep, or do you just keep going?
No, I just keep going.
Ibuprofen?
Yeah. Ibuprofen, lots of water.
Okay.
Yeah, I keep going.
Okay. Do you get any dizziness symptoms?
Nope.
Can you describe more what you mean by you feel this beat?
Yeah, you know what? Someone else asked me to describe that. And what it reminds me of, and this might sound really silly, it reminds me of walking down Main Street, Falmouth in the summer with some group of young teenagers going by in their souped-up car with the bass.
Yeah, the boom car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how, and after they left, you can still feel it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it feels like.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of that it's a rhythm that's just circulating. Or somebody else said, I used to scuba dive,
Mm-hmm.
and you can sometimes hear your heart
Mm-hmm.
when you have equipment on.
Mm-hmm.
You hear the pulse of your own pulse.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of that feeling.
So it's something you hear or something you feel somewhere? You feel in your ears or other places in your body? Where do you feel it?
That's a good question. Probably in my head,
Okay.
most. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What about your energy, motivation?
Yeah, that's been challenged.
You seem like a pretty high energy person.
Yeah,
And you do
I
a
am.
high energy kind of
Yeah,
job.
I do, and I have been known to be more high energy.
Mhm.
So I think that again, lack of sleep. It's something that steals
Mhm.
so much from you if you don't get your rest. So it all comes back to that. If this machine is keeping us awake at night, then of course our energy is going to be impacted, and the ability to perform is going to be impacted. And so I would say that I've had some challenges with my energy level.
And you said no dizziness,
Mm-mm.
vertigo. Did you ever get seasick or carsick in the past?
No,
And you have no history of migraine.
none.
Do you get any ringing in your ears?
I do occasionally, but not significant.
Okay. Like very brief, like less than 30 seconds, or longer than that?
Longer than that.
Like how long? How long might you get ringing for your ear in your
Well,
ears?
I
for?
notice it particularly when when my jaw is really tight after a long night. That's when I
Mhm.
feel the ringing.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to kind of, my husband has told me, chew gum. That pressure headache, I guess, is what he's
Mm-hmm.
thinking that's going on. But there is definitely a ringing or a pitch in my ears.
Like a whine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And
Yeah.
how long might it take to go away?
Oh, probably a minute or two.
Okay. So it goes away pretty quickly once you're awake and not.
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Did you get much ringing in your ears before this?
No.
Anything about your heart? Blood pressure?
No. My blood pressure's always been pretty low. My heart is in great shape. I think that I had been concerned when I started feeling the pulsing,
Mm-hmm.
that maybe there was a problem with my heart, not knowing what it was.
Mm-hmm.
But I did have it checked, and it's fine.
Okay. Any stomach type symptoms at all?
I think that nausea is new to me. I will say that I have a lot of these symptoms I have dismissed as menopause because I'm of that age. So there is kind of a confusion between the two as to what is my environment and what is just the natural course of life.
So what kinds of things do you feel in terms of nausea? Like, does that happen sometimes or often, or what do you?
It happens sometimes. I think that, again, lack of sleep. I correlate it with lack of sleep. And aggravation.
So, like, what time of day, or what relationship to meals, or when you get up in the morning, or headaches?
I think it's more late in the day, actually, for the nausea. I can't give you like how often. I haven't really paid attention to it because part of who I am is to push through. So I haven't really paid attention, but I have made note of it. I'm a woman of a very strong countenance, so it's not a usual feeling to be nauseous.
So one of the ways to sort out the menopause, perimenopause versus these effects is when you go away.
Oh yeah.
So when you've gone away, your trip to Block Island, other trips away, have you had headaches?
No.
Have you had nausea?
No.
What's your mood and energy been like?
Oh, the world's different. Yeah. It's definitely environmental for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and how long, you said you can feel the beat still for a day or two once you go to another place, but what about these other symptoms?
No, they pretty much go away.
Immediately?
Yeah.
And the sleep, does your sleep recover right away?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you get great night's sleep.
Yeah. And that's one of the reasons why Mark and I have invested in hotel rooms, is because we really see the need for both of us to get good night's sleep. And it's interesting because, of course, I think by nature we all sleep poorly away from home. And here it's been reversed in this situation, that now we're accustomed to sleeping well away. And again, every time we drive into a hotel, no matter whether it's vacation or a necessary evil to get away, I get resentful. I'm being forced out of my home of 18 years. I think that it is our basic right to have a good night's sleep. Because, of course, a good night's sleep helps us with every other aspect of our life.
It's actually so fundamental to your physical and mental health.
I'm very disappointed that we're in this situation. And I'm honored that you've come down to talk with Falmouth, because I know that you are kind of you're the world-renowned physician on Wind Turbine Syndrome, and holy smokes, this is not a club I wanted to be in.
Any chronic conditions that you have at all? Have you had any health problems before? I recently broke my neck and I've had it repaired, and I mean, those kinds of problems. I mean, those kinds of issues are are in my background, but has nothing to do with turbines. Yeah. How long ago was that, the neck?
It's about 19 or 20 months ago, I think.
Wow.
Yeah. I've had it replaced. It's all good.
Wow. So it doesn't bother you anymore?
Well, I can't look up.
Okay.
Yeah. And someday I hope to, but it's a metal. I have a metal neck, so we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah. What would you estimate as the potential costs to your family? Like in terms of finances, like numbers. You're the realtor, and you're talking about if you have to move.
I've done a lot of research on the values, because not only for myself but for my clients, and across the board, if you speak with appraisers who are dealing with this in the Midwest or up in Maine or down in the South, they're seeing anywhere between a 28 and a 40% difference in costs to sell the house, property value, and that's heartbreaking for us, of course, because we thought that this was going to be our retirement fund. And then you have the liability of selling a house that may be in a dangerous place. I don't.
That someone could come back at you.
Yeah,
Afterwards,
there's
and
always
reverse
that
the sale.
liability, and so I suspect that if we are able to sell the house, which we hope we will, at some point, that if we're able to get what we've got into it, we'll be very lucky, very lucky. But more importantly, I think one of the costs for us is we have some beautiful young women in our lives who have often thought that they'd like to have their wedding in our backyard. For me, it's a sentiment.
Your daughters?
It's the sentiment of having a house where people like to come. We've stopped entertaining. We don't entertain because we can't trust that it will be an enjoyable evening, or afternoon. We had great plans for not only the kids' events, but some of our own events that we've had to put on hold. We wanted to stay there forever. And we made the house so that we could grow old there. So that's disappointing. So that's one thing. Then of course, our economy. My husband's really been relegated to the basement to sleep. To me, to own a beautiful home on 2 acres of land in a beautiful community like Falmouth, and to be forced to the musty basement, which brings on a whole nother set of symptoms. Like, sleeping with the kitty litter and the must, can't be a good thing. So, but to pay the taxes we do, to own the home we own, and to be forced into that kind of lifestyle, it's just horrifying to me. And out of sight, out of mind, there are so many beautiful people who absolutely believe we've been wronged, but because they don't live there. We occasionally they remember about us, but it is in our lives daily. So to me, I'm definitely aggravated by it. I'm a hot Irish girl, so and it's only maximized by the lack of sleep that I'm able to get even hotter. So I actually I've removed myself from the emails and the constant conversation about the turbines, because I had to do that for my own health, and really had to take a step back from it. I am doing this because I'm so honored to have you here, and I also know that whatever information you can garner from the people of Falmouth is going to help other people. And
what did you think or feel about the turbines before?
I was excited about them. Really excited, because I believe that we need to do some alternative energy. As a matter of fact, I remember very vividly coming out on my Juliet deck off of my bedroom as one of our neighbors came over, and he was angry about it, and I was trying to talk him into liking them. From my Juliet, he was down below, and he said, he actually put me in my place, and his complaint was, look, I can't even read to my kids anymore. It bothers me that bad. And one of his children wasn't sleeping. And I thought, oh my goodness, when you think about how this impacts the little ones, and the people who are even more sensitive than us. And so then we called to order a meeting at my house, and that's when many of us got validated for the feelings we've been kind of sit quietly with, we hadn't really shared. And now we find out that even more people are coming out.
What do you notice about variation in sensitivity? What have you noticed in this group from what you've heard?
Well, it's clear that the human body is different for everybody, and how it is a receptor to the turbine is clearly different. Everyone's experience is their own. And I at first there were some like, oh, that can't be true, that sounds way off, or there are some people in town who are trying to make other people more crazy than others. I really believe that it is one of those things where physiologically we receive the information from the turbine differently. So there's no right or wrong symptom. And it is so new. What I'm learning from the internet is that wind turbine syndrome and wind turbines in neighborhoods is a relatively new concept, because you see them, miles of them in the desert or up on mountaintops, but to be in a neighborhood, the issue isn't whether wind is good or bad.
Mm-hmm.
It's sighting them.
Mm-hmm.
These were poorly sighted, and not enough research was done to begin with before they went out. The special permit process wasn't done, and really, the 50 or so families that are really affected by this.
So it's 50 or so.
50 or so
That
families,
you know about.
yeah, have been thrown under the bus, the political bus, and they've been, sacrificial
Mm-hmm.
for the town's benefit. That's just so unfortunate. It's not, it's just very unfortunate. And these are the things that get my blood pressure up.
Mm-hmm.
I can blame it on the turbine because it gets me riled,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't think it's not a symptom of the turbine. It's more that of all the things, I was a social worker forever. Of all the things I thought I'd be advocating for, this would not be one of them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been an interesting ride.
Great. I mean, not great.
Yeah,
It's terrible.
well, but
But-
we're here to fight it. So
Yeah.
we're here to maybe shed some light on other communities that are considering it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really all about the siting of the wind turbine. Farther away, lesser symptoms.
Yes.
Yeah, farther away.
Definitely.
They need to be away from people. So that's all I have to say.
Great.
Thanks.
Thank you.